Okay, let's talk about owls. You've probably heard their calls deep in the night, or, you've seen them in movies and stories. They're literally all around us, but they live in this world of shadow, almost completely unknown. They really are one of nature's greatest mysteries, hiding right out in the open.
And look, that's not just a feeling you or I might have. Even the experts, the people who spend their entire lives looking for birds, they'll tell you the exact same thing. Naturalist David Lindo really just sums it all up perfectly. Finding owls is hard. And that one single challenge, it shapes everything we're about to get into.
And this picture, wow, this shows you exactly why. Just look at this Eurasian eagle owl. That incredible plumage isn't just for show. It is an absolute masterpiece of evolution. It lets the owl just melt into the bark of a tree or the face of a cliff until it's practically invisible. They are true masters of camouflage. Which, of course, brings us to the big question, right? If they're so hard to find, so good at staying hidden, how in the world do scientists figure out what an owl actually knows? How do we even begin to peek into their secret lives? Well, to solve this mystery, scientists have had to become, basically, owl detectives. And they've got a pretty fascinating toolkit they use to crack the case. Let's start with a surprisingly low-tech tool, the sniffer dog. Yep, you heard that right. Specially trained dogs are actually used to find owl pellets. The little undigested bits of fur and bone that owls cough up. They're super hard for us to spot, but a dog's nose, it leads researchers right to their favorite hangouts. And then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you've got the super high-tech stuff, like passive acoustic monitoring. I want you to just imagine planting hundreds of audio recorders across thousands of square miles of forest and just letting them run for years, capturing every single hoot and call. It's a huge effort that creates this incredible sound map of the entire owl landscape. And the toolkit just gets more impressive from there. Scientists are strapping these tiny little geotagging backpacks onto owls to track their every move. They're using special software to analyze the visual patterns of owl calls. They're setting up remote cameras. They're even building artificial burrows just to get a front row seat to their hidden lives. So, with this incredible toolkit, all this cool tech, and, well, dogs, what have we actually found out? What amazing secrets has all this detective work managed to uncover? All right, first up, we're going to dig into the secrets of this social owl, because it turns out there's a whole lot more to their lives than just a lonely hoot in the dark. Now, this is really interesting. Get this. Geotagging uncovered this total mystery with burrowing owls. So the females, they fly south for the winter to find lots of food. Makes sense, right? But the males, no, they stay up north, toughing it out in the freezing cold with barely any food. Why on earth would they do that? It's all about real estate. The first males back in the spring get the absolute best burrows, the best territory. It's a huge gamble, and they're literally risking their lives for it. And speaking of relationships, did you know birds can get divorced? Yeah, you heard that right. It's not just a human thing. In the bird world, divorce is just when one bird from a pair decides to partner up with a new mate, even while their old partner is still alive and kicking. And believe me, this discovery was a huge deal. For the longest time, everyone just thought these massive birds like the Eurasian eagle owls made it for life. But by tracking the unique calls of individual owls, researchers found out, nope, they swap partners way more often than anyone thought, completely rewriting the book on how they behave. This drive to rewrite the book, to understand what's really going on with these creatures, it's nothing new. In fact, you could call it an ancient human obsession, one where the owl has always been part spirit, part symbol. I mean, our fascination goes back at least 36,000 years. That's when the very first known drawing of a bird, an owl, was scraped into a cave wall in France. Can you just imagine? Even back then, their silent flight and those huge, mysterious eyes must have seemed like pure magic. Thousands of years later, they were symbols of prophecy in ancient Greece. Jump to our time and the Harry Potter books created a global owl craze, and today, that obsession continues in things like the owl cafes in Japan. So, from a symbol on a Greek cup to a child's curious stare, our deep connection to these birds has lasted for millennia. They just capture our imagination in a way that very few other animals do. But our modern fascination, it comes with a huge responsibility. All this new knowledge matters now more than ever, because it's not just about curiosity, it's about protecting the enigma.
Because owls face some really serious modern threats. This number is just staggering. 30%. That's the percentage of barred owls and eastern screech owls that have tested positive for lead poisoning. They're accidentally eating tiny fragments from ammunition that gets left behind in the environment. So what can we do? Well, one of the most powerful tools we have is education. Just by teaching the next generation, we can help turn old fears and superstitions into a deep sense of wonder and a real desire to protect these birds. And hey, this isn't just a theory, it works. In South Africa, an amazing project called owlproject.org used owls as natural pest control for a big rat problem. And while they were at it, they taught thousands of kids that owls aren't something to be afraid of. They're actually vital allies for a healthy environment. It was a massive success. And for the owls that do get injured, there are these dedicated wildlife centers. Their mission is crystal clear, and it never wavers. To treat them, to heal them, and whenever it's possible, to return these magnificent birds back to the wild, right where they belong. Ultimately, when you really get down to it, to understand an owl, its silence, its mysteries, its challenges, is to better understand our own world and our impact on it. They're like a mirror, reflecting the health of our environment and the depth of our own curiosity. And when you look into that mirror, what will you choose to see?